right, hello. So for today, our task is to group our data set and then to find out the top two uh, for each group, okay, or the lowest two. So I'm going to do the top two, but you can eventually realize that you can, of course, tweak the concept, okay? And also, we can also have a conditional, like say, if the certain number of group is too big, then instead of giving me two, give me three. Or another use case would be instead of giving you a specific number, is to give you the top 10 percentile or the top 20 percentile, however how whatever you need for your own purposes. Okay. All right. So let's bring this our data set into Power Query. I'm gonna use the table slash range under data in your ribbon. Okay. So let's bring that one in. Okay, so this is already a fairly clean data set. I have an ID, name associated with the ID, class, teacher, and number of minutes. So I'm going to group them either by class or teachers. I decided I'm going to group them by class. And then I want to grab the highest number of, the highest two instances with the highest number of minutes. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so from here, the first thing that I need to do is to group them. Okay, and then in each group I need to sort them, and then after sorting I'm gonna grab the highest two. Okay, all right, so by grouping you can either go to home and then there's this group by. Alternatively, you can also do highlight the class or teacher, whichever you want to group, and then right click and then there's a group by here. Okay, I'm gonna use the group by in the ribbon. I'm going to use advanced, and the reason being I'm going to only group them by class. That's the only grouping that I want, but I want to create two aggregation. The first aggregation is the number of, I want to find the count. So meaning if my first class is physics, how many physics instances are there? For ELA, how many ELA? So I can have an idea of the total number of items per group, okay? The second aggregation is I want to get all data. This is just the name, okay, but I want to create a mini table per each group, okay, so I can just pick on them if needed. Okay, all right, so now I have, after clicking OK, I have four classes. In physics, I have seven unique instances. Econ has 11 unique instances, and so on. Let's take a peek at one of the tables. This is the econ table. All right, as you can see, we have 11 of those, and these are the number of minutes. So apparently what we want to do is to get the highest two number of minutes in all the rest of the data that it entails. So the highest ones here are 93, and then you have two 73s, right? So if you want to do two, then I should get this row D105, 205, and one of these 703, depending on which one is the according to the other, but because you have two 73s, right? Okay, so all right, so now that we have a table, a little table for each one. In fact, let's look at this one here. This is algebra. This is physics. Again, not arranged. So therefore, the highest two will be this 101 and 73, right? So therefore, our next order of business would be to sort this table. Okay, this table all data. I'm gonna add another column. Okay, custom column. I'm gonna call this one sorted data. Okay, and I'm gonna call in this function called sort. You can either use a list.sort or table.sort, but since we're grabbing our data from a table, I'm gonna choose table.sort. Open parentheses, it will tell you the parameters that you need. The first one is the table. Well, the table is in the column all data. In on the left side, you can see all the available columns. So I'm just gonna double click on that all data and then comma. And then the next parameter is a comparison criteria. So meaning inside that little table, which column do you want to sort? Well, that was, if you remember, when we were peeking through that table, you have that column called minutes. Okay, so it's a column name, so I'm gonna include it in double quotes. And it's also strict with if it's capitalized, then you need to capitalize it. In fact, let me just make it wrong spelling. I'm gonna remove the S so you can see. It will throw in an error. Now, once it does an error, say you forgot the name, you can just open one of the tables and you can see that the column name is actually minutes. I'm going to remove that step. I'm going to go back and double click on that add column so that I can correct the spelling here and then click OK. All right, still has that red, but it'll close later on. Okay, so let's observe on group physics. It's now arranged. However, this is ascending. And this would have been fine if you want the lowest two, right? But if you want to get the highest two, you want this one in descending, okay? And everything, every single little table here are all descending. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna double click on that again so that I can edit this sorting. You cannot really add another parameters that in here that says, okay, please sort it, because table sort only accepts two parameters. So what a workaround would be to make the second parameter a list by enclosing them inside a curly bracket. And then inside the curly bracket would be the column name that you want to sort and the way of sorting that you want, okay? That would be, you can start typing order, okay? And you have two types of order, ascending or descending. Ascending is the default, but we want descending, so I'm gonna double click that. All right, so you have that curly bracket, curly bracket, and then of course you need to enclose it in parentheses because we open it in one. Okay, click OK. Let's look. And so now it is arranged, right? And as you can see, we want this first two for physics. If you look at econ, you want the first two as well. Okay, so the next order of business will be to grab those two. So I'm gonna go add custom column. I can actually build in my the grabbing of the two inside this sorted data, but just to illustrate, you can create as many columns as you want, and then we will just delete this. And then I'm gonna call it top n being the two, and I'm gonna call in this function called first in. Now again, we are calling it from a table, so therefore we will do table first in. Open parentheses, they want the table. Well, you have two sets of table columns here, but we want the sorted table because that's the one that's already arranged. I'm gonna double click that, and then the next parameter is count or condition. So right now we will do the count, so that means we want two for each one, but eventually you can of course create, instead of writing two, you can create a condition. Like, look at this, physics right here has 7, econ has 11, algebra is 14. You can actually say, well, if I have so many, then give me 3, otherwise just give me 2, something like that, right? Okay, I'm gonna click OK because I want to see this one first. I don't really need these two columns anymore. So I'm gonna just highlight them and then remove columns. And then now I'm gonna expand this to see what's inside. All right, so you already have a column class, so you don't really need to show that again. And click that so you don't keep on the seeing top end dot id, top end dot name. Okay. All right, so let's click OK. And so now you will have 8 rows because you have 4 classes and you want 2 of each type. And these are all the highest to number of minutes per class. Now, what about, like what I said earlier, if say you have, if look at this count column, what about if your count is greater than 10? Give me 3 instead because there are too many, right? So give me 3 instead, otherwise give me 2. So we can actually do that. So remember, this grabbing this column is in this added custom, the third one. Let's double click that. I don't really want to remove columns tab and expanded n because I'm going to use that anyway. So this column, this step called added custom number 1, that's when we grab the top n. All right, so these two, instead of making it static like that, I'm gonna change that into a condition. Okay, I move the parentheses down. And so our condition would be if the column count is greater than 10, give me 3. Otherwise, give me 2. Okay, so we're gonna say if your I is not capitalized, if column count, it's already here under available column, is greater than 10, then give me 3. Then 3, no comma, else give me 2. So it's really like how you say it, pretty much that's how you type it. Okay. All right, then we will remove the other columns, expand them. Okay, so now physics had 7 rows, so therefore it's only giving you 2. However, econ has 11, greater than 10, that's why it's giving you the top 3. Same thing with algebra, it has 14, so therefore it's giving you the top 3. Okay, so we're done here. Let's go back to home. Let's close and load this, close and load. Personally, for me, when I close and load, I like them to be just in connection. So that's what I'm gonna do. And this queries and connection will pop up on the right side. If it doesn't, like nothing pops up, you can go to data, and then there's this queries and connection. Okay, and then now you can choose where you want the table to show. You can show it here. You can show it in another tab, or I'm just gonna do it here. Okay, on G. What is this? G1. All right, so clicking on this one, I'm gonna go to my table one, right click, load to, and load to table. Now I'm gonna close this because my background is black and the font color is black. I'm just gonna change the font color here so we can see. All right, so this is our new table, aggregated and grabbing the top 2 or top 3 depending on the count per group. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know and I will see you next time. If you enjoy this, please press the like button. And if you're not subscribed, please consider to do so. Thank you and see you next time.